The 853rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and you use promo code MMASGPN.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 853 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to, let's give it to Kevin Durant, who is apparently leaving my Phoenix Suns. Thank you for your service, but you had to be traded. So thanks for coming to the show. I am Kaiser Del Busto, Jeff Fox, and this is a second Cage Warriors event that we're covering this week. Yesterday, we covered Cage Warriors 190. We're back to Manchester for the Saturday event now, Cage Warriors 191, which has two title fights on the card, so it's a bigger card than the one that we covered yesterday for sure. I am not doing it alone, obviously. I have the master of regional MMA, Mr. Daniel Gumby Reland, who sadly he's down to 26 units this year because what happened this past weekend, Gumby? What hurt you?
I think the biggest problem was that the regional scene was a little chalkier than I was ready for it to be. Not a lot of upsets on the regional scene this weekend. So we hit pretty much all the favorites we played, which gets you close to even money if you're dipping into the underdogs the way that I do. But if you don't hit at least one underdog there, it comes out the other way. So it was actually a little less than a unit. It was negative 0.8 units. So we're down a little bit, but we're still up over 26.
Yep. And you're not going to get it better anywhere else, despite what people all right, thoughts on Cage Warriors 191? I know yesterday was kind of an appetizer. This is the main course of the weekend for Cage Warriors.
I mean, other than the fact that I hate the main event even happening, it's like a bummer.
It kind of happened already.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's like we saw 3 rounds of it already, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like you kind of already know what's going to happen based on those 3 rounds we saw. But here we are, we're rolling it back again. And then, I was kind of excited to see Ewan Davies fight James Power because Ewan Davies is fun as hell to watch. And then so to see him fall off the card, it's not that I'm not excited about this one, but I would have been a lot more excited if you gave me Liam Gittins versus almost anybody else, and then brought Ewan Davies back to the card. So just, down a little bit on that.
Yep. We're still going to make money and have fun with it. Don't worry. Reminder, the college football team previews are back on the College Experience. Colby Dant and Moneyline Mac preview every FBS college football team, which is a lot of teams, and you don't want to miss this. Check out the College Experience. All right, let's check out some Cage Warriors now. Cage Warriors 191, Gittins versus Giordano, 2, Manchester, England, Saturday night, 1 p.m. Actually, not night if you're in the Eastern time zone like we are, 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, which is good, and it can lead you right up to the UFC pay-per-view on Saturday evening. BEC Arena, Manchester, England, 15 fights. We're going to start things off with, I should have had this queued up already, Teddy Stringer. He is from England. Torpal Merjoev. That's an interesting name. He is from Norway. They're fighting 3 5-minute rounds. They are fighting at 155. No odds yet, but they should be dropping fairly soon. Usually it's midweek for promotions like Cage Warriors. Merjoev is Rambo, 5-0 with 2 knockouts. This is his Cage Warriors debut. TKO win in his last bout. He's regional champ, 4 years younger than Stringer. Stringer is also 5-0, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, so he definitely owes us some rounds here. All those fights are taking place in Cage Warriors. He's used to fight at 170. He's 2 inches taller than Merjoev.
Yeah, I think this is, the Cage Warriors clearly likes Teddy Stringer, and they want him to come along. And I hadn't seen any of Torpal Merjoev at all, so I had to look up some film on him. He's the perfect type of person that Teddy Stringer is just going to light up. He's gonna beat the hell out of him. Teddy Stringer, we'll say negative 350 will be the line. And the reason why, Merjoev is a terrible matchup for Teddy Stringer is that Merjoev just he enters into range, and he's a pretty good kickboxer. From what I can see from his striking, it doesn't look bad, but he enters into range, and then there's just a second hesitation where he's there to be hit and hasn't started his combination yet. So there's no flow to his striking, in my opinion. He gets too close, too fast, and isn't ready for himself to throw yet. And that's a big problem for me, especially when you're fighting Teddy Stringer. Teddy Stringer is a guy who just pours on the strikes. Like, this is a guy who very much would like nothing more to be in an absolute brawl. He does a really good job of stinging you multiple times when he's in there. You know, he's a little bit of a headhunter. I'd like to see him go to the body a little bit more in those brawling exchanges, but I really do like how much he lights people up. And then the other bonus to Teddy Stringer is he's really good at jiu-jitsu. A lot of times when he hurts you on the feet, he goes right to backpacking, right to trying to finish you, and usually is looking for a sub. And like, that's fine. Like, you know, some people prefer when they're brawling and they hurt you to just, you know, load on the punches. He keeps it simple and goes to what he's probably best at and should probably, you know, if I'm being honest, and we're talking about Teddy Stringer's ceiling, like his ceiling would probably be higher if he just like shot more takedowns and went to his jiu-jitsu without like trying to slug it out with you first. But the dude loves to slug it out. And maybe that'll get him a UFC contract one day. But you know, Merjoev is going to enter into range and not be ready for what's coming back his way. And he's going to pay for it. So yeah, give me Teddy Stringer here. Probably.
All right. Yeah, that's one of the problems. Slugging it out will get you rewarded when Dana White and people are involved. So I guess you gotta wait. That's one of the issues with having to pick contender series fights, because guys sometimes fight differently. So, but Stringer is Gummy's pick for this year fight. We're sticking with 155. Adam Cullen from England up next versus Lukas Cruz from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. Tell you about Cruz first. Favela is the nickname. 10-3, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. This is his debut in Cage Warriors. He's gone 3-1 over his last 4, but he did lose his last bout. That was back in September of 2023. He's not won a bout since March 2023. He's fought at 145 and 170. He's 3 years younger than Cullen. Cullen is 9-2, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He owes his rounds. All those fights are taking place in Cage Warriors, so very high level of competition on his resume. He's won 2 straight and 3 of 5. Both of his past 2 wins have come via TKO. He used to fight at 170 as well. He's an inch taller than Cruz.
Yeah, so I think Cruz's layoff and his recent loss is going to make Cullen here another big favorite. Probably not as big as Stringer, but like maybe like negative 275, negative 300, that kind of range. And I like Cullen in this fight. You know, if you watch Lukas Cruz, you know, side kicks, he works well from distance, and he actually closes distance pretty well too. The problem is when he like closes distance, he winds up in the clinch a lot, and he's kind of been bullied in the clinch in the past. If you go back and watch, he actually fought an octagon way back when he fought Teo Odunjo. And Odunjo like kind of just like put him up against the cage and like carried him there and took him down a couple of times. Can't remember who won that fight, but Teo Odunjo had like the wrestling advantage in it. And like if you watch Adam Cullen, like his biggest issue is sometimes his defensive striking is a little wanting. Like I wonder if, you know, he's improved anything from there, but he got tagged early in his last fight and wobbled and, you know, managed to work his way out of there. But in terms of his wrestling, and it's actually more judo probably because it's like hip throws and trips and stuff like that. His judo is really good. And then on top, he's got really smart positional awareness. In the grappling, he's good at defensive jiu-jitsu, which, you know, is important, but probably not against Lukas Cruz. Cruz is probably going to want to strike. But I think he's just going to like, you know, Cruz will move forward and move forward and move forward because that's kind of what he does. He does a good job of closing the distance. It'll take Cullen not backing down one time and they'll be in the clinch together. And I think that's where you see Cullen take over. I think you're going to see his judo, you know, begin to be the deciding factor. And then once Cruz is on the ground too, I don't think he's got a good chance of getting up against Adam Cullen. I think Adam Cullen's, you know, ground control and his ability to hold positions and then his ability to like punish you from those positions is good enough that Lukas Cruz is going to be in a bad place. So give me Adam Cullen here. Probably again, another big line though.
All right. That's okay. Oh, you got to pick winners. Hopefully we get some dogs soon. Before we dive into some more picks, Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football giveaway is ongoing. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. You get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab for stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. You can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with the promo code SGP15. Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And we're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including this year Cage Warriors event that we're talking about. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, lightning fast payouts using crypto. So make sure you check out the Cage Warriors lines there. And when you do, head to mybookie.ag, use our code MMASGPN. That way you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. All right, moving on up. Actually, not according to Tapology, we're moving down, but really we're moving up the card according to Cage Warriors. This is a catchweight, 165-pound bout. Michael Pagani from Italy, Tim Wilde from England. Do you know why it's a catchweight or not off the top of your head?
I want to say Wilde is a late replacement.
Okay.
I think Pagani was originally in the fight, but Wilde is an addition.
Yeah, Tapology doesn't have that listed either, so I can't say for sure. Let's break her down, though. Pagani is sniper. 7-2 with 1 no contest. He's been knocked out 5 times. He's never been finished in a fight. 1-2 in Cage Warriors. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 5 straight. He's fed at 170, 11 years younger than Wilde. The experiment. I remember talking about him before, Tim Wilde. 17-6-1, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 2-3 in Cage Warriors. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 3 straight. And he's gone 5-2-1 over his last 8. He's gone 5. He went 5-3-1 in Bellator, RIP. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get all our merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. I used to fight at 145 at 170, 2013 pro MMA debut, 2 inches taller than Pagani. I think this fight's been actually scheduled. Sorry to interrupt. Scheduled a couple of times before, and this is hopefully finally happens this time.
Okay. So I think Pagani's going to be a slight favorite. We're going to say like negative 145. In general, you know, the youth mixed with like, you know, who he's been losing to. Although I guess Tim Wilde did just lose to Mark Diakiese. But yeah, so I think Pagani's going to be the slight favorite here. Like I said, negative 145, negative 135. And I like him in this spot too. If you watch Pagani, you know, really nice kicks, particularly high kicks, good work to the body, you know, just overall, just like a pretty nice kickboxer. His big flaw is that if you get him moving backwards, he panics a little bit. You can see he's one of those guys who they look to almost like push their opponent away when they close the distance too well on him. And that's like, you know, obviously a huge problem, and it gets you tagged a lot. So I'm a little bit worried about that with Pagani. But here's the thing, is I don't think Wilde's the type of guy to do that. Like if you watch his fight with Diakiese, he actually does a really good job of cutting the cage off and forcing Mark Diakiese to fight with him, but he doesn't crowd it. You know, like there's a difference between, you know, cutting the cage off and forcing you to strike with him and then like crowding him and being in his space. Like Pagani had a lot of trouble with, you know, a really good underdog pick of ours not that long ago, Constantino Natellis, who I picked to beat Pagani despite being like plus 220 or something like that. Natellis is like a grinder, right? Like he not just closes the distance so he's in a striking range, but he closes the distance so he's in like a phone booth in either dirty boxes, or you're worried about the clinch, or like, you know, he's in your face. And like that's what Pagani has had trouble with in the past, and why Natellis won that fight. And like Wilde will close the distance, but only because he wants you to throw with him from range. And I think Pagani is better at throwing from range. So when that boils down, like, you know, Pagani will be the better striker from range. Wilde won't be doing enough of the things that he struggles at. And then like, if they do wind up in the clinch, like Pagani, I think is the more physical fighter here too. Like he's definitely stronger. Now it doesn't seem like either of them ever really want to wrestle. Like Wilde kind of got bodied by Mark Diakiese. Not that that's like a, you know, an indictment of him, but he got bodied by Mark Diakiese. So like, you know, I think in the clinch, Pagani is going to be the one with the better time. Probably will never get there though, because Tim Wilde seems to like just want to strike from range, and I like Pagani better in that kind of fight.
All right, Pagani is the pick. All right, this is a title bout. Next, interim lightweight championship bout. Why is it interim Gumby?
Samuel Silva is the champ, and to my knowledge, he was just signed to fight on Dana White's Contender Series September 2nd. And if I'm not mistaken, if the rumors I've heard are correct, he's fighting rat garbage, Mandel Nallo, who I have to regret to. This is sad breaking news to everybody. Mandel Nallo no longer is using the nickname rat garbage.
Oh, come on.
It's gone. According to Tapology, he's now Mango. Mango Mandel Nallo, which I don't know which one I like better. Do you like Mango Mandel?
It's still funny. It's funny
Yeah.
when you say it together with his name and everything. Yeah,
Mango Mandel. Yeah, if he was just like had a regular name like Mango Jeff Fox, it's not funny.
That's Gumby.
Mango Mandel is funny. Rat Garbage is really good though.
Yes,
R.I.P. Rat Garbage.
Definitely RIP to that. All right, these guys are fighting after all of that. They're fighting for a belt, an interim belt. Is 155 belt, and the guys in question. This belt was just, I guess, put together. This was off air. You were telling me all this. Is that right?
Yeah,
I don't think we were recording.
Yeah,
yet.
we
You
don't.
want
We
to
don't
explain
have to.
to people what happened.
We can repeat it for the people. So James Power was originally supposed to fight Ewan Davies, who's a prospect I'm really high on. Thought that was going to be a sick fight. Ewan Davies unfortunately had to back out. Tugarev was supposed to fight Pennington, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And James Pennington backed out of that fight. So they just basically took the two guys who already had no dance partners, were the right weight for one another, and it just sort of worked out that these two could fight each other. And actually, maybe a better matchup because James Power is, I think, better than James Pennington. I don't know what Pennington was doing in that title fight. But yeah, so let's get this one going instead.
Yeah, awesome. All right, James Power, he's from England. He's fighting Omar Tugarev. He is from Finland, right? Yes, Finland. 5-minute rounds because they're fighting for a belt, kind of. I'll tell you about Tugarev first. 7-0, 3 knockouts, 3 submissions. This is his Cage Wars debut. A TKO win in his last bout. He's fought at 155, 170, 176. 0-1 as a pro kickboxer, 10 years younger than Power. Power is 8-1 with 7 knockouts. He's never been finishing a fight. 5-1 in Cage Wars. He's won 3 straight bouts. He's gone 3-0 with 1 no contest over his last 4. 3-2. Actually, I'm reading the wrong one. 8-1. Power is 8-1 with 7 knockouts. Never been finished. All that is correct. 5-1 in Cage Wars. He's won 3 straight. Last 2 via TKO. He's fight at 170. I jumped ahead of fight there. All right. So Power, Tugarev, who you got?
I think Power is probably going to be the slight dog. Tugarev, first of all, has a Russian sounding name, even if he's Finnish, which usually helps. He's got the slightly better record. He was originally supposed to be in the title fight. So you got to imagine he's going to be the favorite. So I'm going to say like plus 130 on Power. I don't think he's going to be a big dog because it is a well-matched fight. And I'm going to go underdog in this one. This will be my first underdog on this card. I like James Power. The big reason why, good kickboxer. I really like his step-in knees. He throws a lot of knees to the body on the step-in. He fought Dimitru Gerlin either at his last fight or 2 fights ago, and did a really good job defending the wrestling and grappling of Gerlin, who's, a pretty damn good wrestler. So that's, not nothing. That's something for Power here. And then if you watch Tugarev, a guy who obviously really likes a takedown, wants to mix this up on the ground, is exactly what you would expect from somebody with a Russian sounding name, even if he's not Russian. And his takedowns are decent. The thing I don't like about his grappling game is that while his takedowns are decent, his control is not. I think he has actually pretty poor top control, especially when you compare it to how good his takedown game is, which means he sort of needs a lot of takedowns in order for that to work. I watched his fight at UAE Warriors. He fought Humphrey Malenga. He fought who's like a prospect who we've talked about on here before, I think for EFC. And he took down Malenga, but Malenga got right back up. He took him down again. He got right back up. And so it was one of those things where you're like, okay, so he can wrestle, but can he grapple? And that's a big difference. And so, on top of that, because he's a guy who likes to get to that takedown so early, not a lot of footage on him on the striking range. He seems to be uncomfortable with people who do want to strike, right? I'll go back to that Malenga fight. Malenga clearly was making him uncomfortable with his striking. So he just shot. And so, James Power maybe has some of the best situation to beat a guy like that. I don't know how well his takedown defense will hold up against Tugarev's, but he should be able to get back up at the minimum. It held up against Gerlin, but at the very least, he should be able to get back up. And then in addition to that too, the fact that he throws stepping knees this, I hate to on a regional card, call a finish, but this really feels like James Power is just going to step in with one knee. Tugarev is going to time a shot at the worst possible time, and he's just going to eat a knee and go to sleep. It just feels like this is perfectly set up for James Power to hit a step-in knee on a takedown attempt and get the KO. But even if he doesn't do that, I think on the feet, he's, classes ahead of Tugarev, and he should be able to be on the feet long enough to get that going.
Finish the finish.
Yeah,
I know you don't call him, you call him fins, but still, that's not as funny. All right, so power via finish. Gumby says no, not just a finish, a step in knee finish. Is that what you're predicting?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Hopefully it happens, because that would be good for our show, Gumby, if that happens. So let's make it happen, people. All right, Gumby just picking out underdog, and now it's time for his bonus underdog pick'em on play. Underdog has, now NBA is over, they still have plenty of other sports, including MMA, obviously baseball, golf, all the good stuff. Gumby's going to give you a bonus play right now.
Yeah, on Monday, the Braves start up their series with the Mets. They just got done sweeping them, and we got some Spencer Schwellenbach action, and you know Spencer Schwellenbach's been higher than on his strikeouts lately, so take the higher than on Spencer Schwellenbach's strikeouts.
All right, and also take our code MMASGPN, and that way when you sign up, you can claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So underdogfantasy.com with our promo code MMASGPN. And you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Gumby was using it for the NBA Finals. He uses it for baseball. You don't need it for Spencer Schwellenbach because you already know about Braves guys, right?
Yeah, I already know about Braves guys. But I will say, yeah, it was huge during the NBA Finals for us in pretty much all of the stats for the Pacers bench guys.
Yeah.
It wound up, playing up very well over the course of the series. And I wouldn't have even thought to look to the TJ McConnells and Obi Toppins of the world if it weren't for Rhythm's Power Trends.
Yeah, so check it out. And that is, Gummy's not reading an ad there. He's telling you from the heart. All right, so check it all out. You can check it out for free. 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's the key. Spell it that way. All right, main event. The Gummy does not want to happen. Cage Warriors Bantamweight Championship.
It's just not necessary. I'm not saying I don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
It's just like downright unnecessary.
Yep. And he's going to tell you why after I give you the breakdown. Liam Gittins, he's the champ. He's from England. He's fighting Alessandro Giordano from Italy. 5 5-minute rounds. Let's break it down by telling you about the challenger first. Giordano, 9-3 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's never been finished in a fight. 3-2 with 1 no contest in Cage Warriors. 3-0 with 1 no contest over his last 4. 3-2 with 1 no contest over his last 6. No contest was his last bout against Gittins, which was the very last fight that they both men had. He's not lost. Giordano has not lost since May 2023. He's fed at 145 and 150, 2 inches taller than Gittins. Gittins is nightmare. 13-4 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 10-4 with 1 no contest in Cage Warriors and the champ. He successfully defended his title once, then you had the no contest in his second title defense. So he's 6-0 with 1 no contest over his last 7. He's not lost since December 2021. He's fed at 125 and 145, a year younger than Giordano. So tell us what happened in the first fight, Gumby.
So first of all, Gittins -500 probably is what my guess is. He's going to be a massive favorite here because first of all, he was a favorite in the first one, and pretty much how it went down is that if you watch the fight, is Gittins just takes all of the room away. He pressures, he gets right in your face. And then he it's not brawling, but like he gets in a phone booth with you and is willing to mix it up in that phone booth. That's how he's fought pretty much all of his fights. And he's pretty damn good at doing that. And that's what he did to Giordano. He took all of his room away. He was beating him up in close range. He clearly won the first round. He clearly won the second round, in my opinion. And he was well on his way to winning the third round. And when he closed the range again and got real up in it, there was like this weird exchange where it looked like basically Gittins was trying to poke him in the eye. Like they slow, I'm not kidding you. Like they slow it down, and everything's worse when you slow it down.
Yeah.
Right. Like all fouls look like they were like wildly intentional. Maybe not as intentional as some of the ones we saw this weekend at UFC Baku.
Don't spoil it. I haven't watched it yet.
I mean,
I can't wait. I love fouls. I can't.
You're gonna see 9 shots to the testicles.
Oh, I love it.
You're gonna see 3 or 4 fence grabs. Of course, none of them, any problem. You are gonna see actual point deductions at some point. I mean, like,
nice. I can't wait.
There's so much stuff. But they slowed this one down, and it's like his hands come forward, and he's like he's typewritering punching him in the eyeball. And if you were on YouTube, you could just see me doing that to the camera. It looked like he was doing everything in his power to poke Giordano in the eye, and he doesn't. I didn't think he got him really good. Like it seemed like it was the one that did eventually get to his eye was like maybe more of a glancing blow, and Giordano was like, "Nope, can't see. This is over." And like, maybe he can't see. I can't ever tell whether people can or not. But like, it also would have been a great time for him to decide to get out, because like another round in, and that's going to the judges' scorecards for a technical decision. Gittins was clearly the better man in that night. And maybe Giordano's got a reason, bad camp, bad cut, whatever it might be. But I have no reason to be like, there's no reason Gittins won't just beat him that way again. He won't crowd him. He won't get in his face. He won't hurt him. Like, all of that just stands out to me as like what's going to happen. So yeah, I'll take Liam Gittins again. I think he's going to beat up Giordano.
All right. Now if you aren't watching this on YouTube, that's more reason to now. You can get your eyes virtually poked by Gumby, right?
That's right.
Well, what more do you want? All right, before we're actually going to give you more. We're going to give you some more winning plays after I give you a quick recap here. He's got Gittins. He's got Power. He's got Pagani. He's got Cullen. He's got Stringer. All right, we got lots more to choose from, Gumby. Where are we going to next?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to shout out Michael Pagani, because I think he's the first Italian fighter I've ever picked to win a fight.
Oh, that's right.
Except for in Italy versus Italy matchups, and then I pick one. But
forced.
I have no hate on Italy. I haven't been real, impressed with their MMA scene. I got two. One of them is Joe Fields. He's a 4-0 or 5-0 British 125 pounder. Super fast. Kind of like his top game. He's got plenty of things to like. He's fast. He's sharp. He's got the good top game. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Like, might be a guy we actually just see moving on up the 25 rankings here and possibly getting a phone call at some point in time. So Joe Fields is one to keep an eye on. And then there's a guy turning pro this weekend on Cage Warriors one. I almost said Cage Titans. Cage Warriors 191. His name is Chris Morris. I kind of like what I've seen from Chris Morris as an amateur. I think he was 11-2 as an amateur, and his two losses were like regional names even you would know. Like, Josh O'Connor.
Thank you.
You know Josh O'Connor from Aries.
I know the name.
He's the Aries champ. And then he also lost to Dennis Frimpong from Octagon. So like his only two losses on the amateur scene were to some like pretty high level dudes, or at least guys who like turned pro way faster than he did. So like those two losses aren't really bad. And he's going to be fighting a guy. I love this guy's name, and I'm not hating. His name is Christian Soda.
I'm sure there's a thing. There's got to be a thing. Christian Soda's got to be a thing.
Christian Soda, which is, it's awesome, right? But like, so like he's in there to beat up Christian Soda, which is a sick name. But I think between his high level of competition, the fact that the guy he's fighting had like, I think he's coming off of 3 straight losses as an amateur, and he's turning pro too. Like, Chris Morris should roll. So my 2 official lightning round picks are Joe Fields and Chris Morris.
All right, you are set. See, hopefully, if you stuck around for the lightning round, you got some bonus there. You got some Christian Soda for yourself. All right, we are done with the Cage Warriors for this weekend. I always like to ask you who are you most up on in this card, or who do you think you see a bright future for, whether in the UFC or elsewhere?
Probably 2 of them. So you're probably going to see Liam Gittins in the UFC sooner rather than later. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if like he gets skipped on Contender Series just because of the timing of his title fight here.
Right.
And then winds up instead, like, if the UFC goes to like Great Britain in November or something like that, especially now that they're undisputed heavyweight champion is now a British guy. So like they're probably going to have a British card sometime in the near future. If they do, it wouldn't surprise me if Gittins just got the call. So Gittins is one to watch. And then Teddy Stringer. Like, he's very exciting on the feet. He's got good jiu-jitsu skills. Clearly, he's on the right trajectory as well.
All right, cool. All right. You can talk more Cage Wars or anything else you want to talk about in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Maybe a good Christian Soda brand for us to try out. So check it out. You can also talk to us, of course, via YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. Hit us up in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, please and thanks. On Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gamble Responsibly. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there, and on Instagram. Get into my Substack. Subscribe. Free subscription level will get you into my weekly UFC Pick'em contest, where you can win real prizes. So that would be moneymma.substack.com. Gumby is the top turtle MMA podcast. I'm not on it, which is a bonus. He does have interesting people in MMA on it. Tell the people who we're going to listen to this week.
Yeah, definitely Jack Hermanson.
Right.
I'm trying to finish up my second interview. It will either be somebody else from UFC 317, or I got one more coming off a Contender Series in the can, who's Anthony Guarasio, who has both called us out for making a bag pick on the show, and is also a hell of a character. You guys are going to enjoy that guy, who will either air this week or next week. So, tune in every week.
Yep, Gumby's already tipped me off to. I always listen to all the shows, but yeah, definitely listen to that interview when it drops. So we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Back tomorrow with some PFL after Gumby bids you farewell.
All right, I'm JD Gumby Freeland. He's Rat Garbage, Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.